Welcome to Everything Real in Fredericksburg, from local government to economic development and real estate. If it's happening in Fredericksburg, Texas, we talk about it. Now your host, Leanne Bailey.
Hi, welcome to Everything Real in Fredericksburg. I'm your host, Leanne Bailey. Today we're at a special location, one of my favorite places, our airplane hangar. And I'm here with one of my special favorite people, Clinton Bailey. Clinton is the city manager here for the City of Fredericksburg, and he's also my husband. So from time to time, I like to catch him and catch up on city news, see what's going on in town. And we couldn't think of a better place to do it than our airplane hangar, where we normally just hang out and visit anyway. Thanks, Clinton, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Feel pretty special being the second time around here, first person for the second podcast. So lots happened since the first time we sat down.
Yeah, no kidding. It's been over a year. I guess it was last February when I interviewed you. And I was looking back at the old podcast, and it's hard to believe so much that's gone on in Fredericksburg. And I just wanted to bring you back in and talk about that. You've been the city manager now for a little over 2 years.
A little bit over 2 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how's that been?
It's been good. Actually, a little bit shy of 2 years.
Okay.
It'll be May 1st will be 2 years exactly. So we're really close. But it's been good. It's been a challenge. We've done a lot of really good work, working with the city council, and have a lot of new staff additions. I'd be more than happy to talk about. And things are going really good in town.
Yeah, you really seem like you're really fitting into the position well, and you seem a lot more calm.
One of the things that we talked about doing, and I've talked about doing this for the past decade, is getting out in the community.
Yes.
We have one more town hall to do in our series, and when we're complete, we will have done 27 different neighborhood town hall meetings. So everybody in town has had an invitation. Everybody's had the opportunity to get in front of me, the police chief, the entire council, the mayor, the entire council. And we've had real good turnout. So my promise to the community was to get out and listen. We've done that. We're going to continue to do that. And there's been a lot of good come from that. Yeah,
that's been great. I've been really proud of you for doing that. I've attended several and really enjoyed those. And then the ones that I've not been able to attend, I'll say, well, how long do you think it'll last? And I think usually start at 6. You'll say, oh, I'll be home in an hour or so. And you're usually there till almost 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
And I know that's because you really enjoy visiting with the people and giving everyone a chance to just visit and vocalize any problems they have. And I know I've seen staff sitting there writing down any issues, say, we'll address that. So, speak on that for just a minute.
Sure. So it's been very good. Again, we've had very good turnout, and there are definitely some common themes that have, developed as we've gone through the process. This is a very tight-knit community.
Mm-hmm.
I run into people all the time. We talk about this, that, retire here after traveling the world and, discovering that this is the best place in the world for them to retire. Literally people that could retire anywhere move here to retire. So it says a lot about the community, and, people are very interested in city government and what's going on. They also have opinions about certain things that are happening, whether it's development related. For instance, the 1,500 apartment units that are either under construction or approved for construction. The change in tourism, from those that come here and shop to those that come here for the experience, to just issues in the neighborhood and other issues around town. But I'd say for the most part, they're very positive. I'll also say that Coffee with the City Manager, we have transformed that event from roughly 10 to 12 people attending to 80 to sometimes 100 people attending, and really getting the word out, again, in a lot of different ways, and very positive feedback from people.
Yeah, and I'll interject there. Your Coffee with the City Manager went from just being a little small event really before you took office to now it's live, which Fredericksburg Live produces my podcast and also produces your Coffee with the City Manager. So not only do you have the folks in the room, you've got all these people, and that's when I watch it is online. So it's incredible.
So according to our new public information officer, Sean Dory, He said that we're getting as many people viewing online as are attending, and then a lot of views after the fact. So we appreciate that activity. And again, I will say one of the changes that we've made with that event that's been very well received is instead of me standing up there talking, we have a lot of different folks presenting. For instance, a couple of months ago, we had our police chief and fire chief both present 2023 year-end reports on all of the activity all year long going on in each one of those departments. How many fire EMS calls and the breakdown of those, how many police department calls and the breakdown. We also had Create Healthy and most recently Methodist Hospital representatives presenting by request from the group. So we're trying to honor those requests, get people in, and I'm trying to get staff individuals, staff members to present as well to that group. So people aren't just listening to me, and it's been very well received, and it's very good for staff, and we kind of broaden the scope of the issues we talk about.
I like that. When I, one of the reasons I created the podcast was to talk about everything real, the things that go on every day in Fredericksburg. And I think you do that with the various events that you're putting on. And they all happen generally outside of work hours. I mean, coffee's in the morning, but there's something that people can attend any time of the day. But for me, I'm able to give the folks maybe moving into Fredericksburg here, go listen to this. And, you can learn a lot about the community.
So those, the coffees are typically done after I give my monthly report to the city council. And that report consists of development projects that are going on. We give a financial update, and then I have a catch-all that includes police, fire, EMS, health department, openings within the city, and so forth. So everything that is going on that is noteworthy that I report to the council, I report to the group at Coffee with the city manager, and I was even doing that during the town hall. So if I know about it, and again, it's newsworthy, I try to pass that along to the public again, so they're getting that information from the source.
Sure. Yeah, I've seen your list. It's long.
Right.
And I know one of the things on your list, and you've mentioned it briefly a while ago, is the new apartments coming in, being built on Friendship. That's been top of mind on just about everybody that lives in Fredericksburg. And as a realtor, a lot of people call me and ask me, what is the rent? Who's going to be renting them? Excuse me. When are they going to be finished? Excuse me. What does the water situation look like? And so we speak a little bit about maybe not so much the rent, but what does a water situation do with apartments like that?
Well, let's start with the numbers. At the end of 2019, we had 808 apartment units available for rent inside the city limits, and with about 100% occupancy. Didn't see any new construction until 2021 timeframe. And then all of a sudden, we have about 150 units that have been completed. We have about 500 more that are under construction. You see a lot of those off Friendship Lane, 16 North, North Llano, by the elementary school. And then we have another 600 or 700 that are approved for construction that will be breaking ground pretty soon. In terms of when those will be completed, the Friendship Lane apartments are just about complete. CO will be issued very soon. Same with 16 North. So, we're going to have 600 new ones coming on.
Sure.
In terms of the water situation, I'll say this first and foremost. We are not running out of water in Fredericksburg or Gillespie County, but it's always wise to conserve water and be smart with that resource in any way that you can. So that's what we've been doing. And thank you to the community for helping us conserve. We do a lot of things on the city side. I know the community is doing a lot of things to help with that. We're not growing really quickly. A lot of people talk about this explosive growth and where are we going to find the water. We grow about 1.2% in population per year. Just to give you an idea, we add about 60 to 70 single-family residential homes per year. 70% of the water that we pump out into the distribution system goes to outdoor irrigation at single-family residential homes.
Sure.
So 60 to 70% of that. So that is the most impactful. When you look at all of the apartment units in Fredericksburg at the end of 2019, that was about accounts for about 5% of the overall water usage. So yes, that is going up. But the new construction, you have low flow toilets, you have a lot of different systems that really are conservative minded. The landscaping, all of it is done in a way that is really not that water intensive.
Sure.
So yes, we're going to see a little bit more water usage with that, those apartments coming on. But just to give you an idea on the city side, we do a leak detection survey every 5 years or so. Back in 2013, when I came on board, we had about a 13% water loss. So we went through this leak detection survey and fixed a lot of those leaks. And over a 3-year period, we reduced that down to 1.4%. That was the lowest in the state. So that water savings is enough to accommodate almost 10 years worth of growth at 1.2%.
Sure.
Or that's enough savings to add 1,000 people to our population. Now, when we look at the population projections, and you can find this information in any number of locations, Texas Water Development Board is a really good one. In fact, Paul Tiber and Chris Canese just presented the water report to the council.
Sure.
You can check that out. The population growth in Fredericksburg city limits is not expected to grow beyond 13,000 people in the next 50 years.
Sure.
And we're at 11,500 now.
Yeah.
So I think that puts it into perspective. We do have the potential for a population spike with the apartments coming on, but again, very low water demand from those. And we're going to keep working on the conservation side. We're going to hope the drought, subsides.
Sure.
That's the main driver of our water conservation efforts. It's not growth, it's the drought, and the entire state is faced with that same issue. So it's nothing that we're just dealing with locally.
Yeah. Well, as we talk a lot in the past, like maybe last year when I interviewed you, we talked about kind of the affordable housing initiative, and I think the market's kind of taking care of itself. But I feel, I presented to you the other night that my market report and what was on the market and what's active and what is sold. And we've got quite a few houses on the market. And, thanks to high interest rates, that's kind of kept homes on the market longer than what they would have normally been. But it's giving people a chance to breathe, look for houses, and find something that they can afford versus overpaying for something because it's the only thing left. Right. So I like it. I'm okay with it. Gives us some breathing room, gives everybody a chance to get into a house that they want. Right. So that's great.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit. I have something special to ask you, but I'll wait a little bit later because I want to end with that. But tell me, what are the council's priorities? Maybe you as a city manager, I know you just went through your review and had to give your priorities. Tell me maybe what your priorities are and how they marry with the council's priorities.
Sure. Well, the priorities the council set for me this year, the goals they set for me are really centered around activities that really make Fredericksburg a better place to live. Also providing more information to our residents. So again, they know where their tax dollars are going, for instance. Those things are along the lines of water conservation. We want to diversify our water portfolio instead of it all being underground. We're talking about what surface water might look like, some other different things we can do there. The council is interested in pursuing a strategic plan. It is taking all the master plans that we have completed, transportation, water, wastewater, the recent comprehensive plan, and putting all of those together in one with a master task list so that we can keep up with and track, all of the projects and all the programs that we have going on. In terms of the council priorities, we go through a strategic planning exercise with the council every year. In fact, we just completed that exercise about a month ago with the council in about a 6-hour-long meeting. And really, their priorities didn't change a lot. But again, a lot of them are centered around trying to make Fredericksburg a better place to live and not concentrating as much on tourism. So parks, again, with the completion of the comp plan, We have a lot of projects that have to do with parks and trails and open space and things like that. I'll also say that the council is very interested in maintaining the excellent staff that we have at the City of Fredericksburg. And to do that, you have to pay them. So we're always looking for ways to save money and maybe get a little bit more from our visitors instead of taxing our residents quite as much. So a lot of those priorities,
Sounds good.
a lot of those priorities are, too centered around, programs where we might be able to get just a little bit more. For instance, would a managed parking option work in Fredericksburg? And I know we've talked about this before. I'm not talking about parking meters everywhere. Starting small, trying to free up and turn over some spaces on those golden blocks of Main Street, giving others the opportunity to come in and park in front of a business instead of having to walk 3 or 4 blocks and maybe charging just a little bit for that. Their priority, of course, one of their top priorities is water. And another one of their priorities is emergency services, fire EMS, and in the police department. Very difficult to hire and maintain police officers right now. We've done I feel, a really good job of staying pretty close to fully staffed, going from 8 to 10 openings to 4 to 5 now.
Yeah.
Fire EMS, the same. We're almost fully staffed there. But I will say, going back to the the tax situation and revenue situation, our police department, fire department, emergency services departments have to be much larger to support our tourism coming in. Majority of our responses, I say the majority, the split is about 50-50 when you look at it. So a lot of response to our visitors. We want them to come here. They do provide a lot of revenue through sales tax.
Sure.
In fact, we generate twice as much sales tax as property tax in Fredericksburg. So we rely on them, but at the same time, we have to be careful not to overdo the tourism side of things. Again, concentrating on residents. We heard that through all of our town hall meetings. The council heard that, and they're really focused in on priorities, kind of centered around that goal.
Yeah, and you just finished the comp plan, and I went to several of those meetings, and it was nice to be able to be a resident and talk about what I wanted. Every individual had the opportunity to put in down their wish list, and I know you guys compiled those and built that into the comp plan, so that's great. Because if you think your voice isn't being heard, you're crazy, because there's all these platforms to be heard, and that's where
completely community-driven plan. It wasn't staff or council driven at all. So all of the input that we got for the development of the comp plan were all ideas that we heard from the community. Yeah. And thanks to the community for responding to the surveys. We had thousands of people respond to the surveys that we put out. So there was a lot of interest in
all
that.
ages. I saw kids and, older folks and younger folks, and it was great. So I like seeing that. It makes my heart happy.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's good for you.
Yep.
So what is today? April 10th?
April 11th.
April 11th. So when we record this, it's April 11th, which is just a few days after the big the American eclipse.
Yeah.
And here we are. So I wanted to bring you in and just talk a little bit about that. I know it was hard to kind of know what to expect, and you and I had a really great time watching it. We watched from the house. I'm surprised we didn't watch from out here at the airport.
Yeah.
But I know. Tell me a little bit about what the city started and how you guys try to prepare the community, and then, maybe talk about some of the statistics that with visitors and sales tax and stuff like that.
Sure. So we've been planning for the Eclipse event we started planning for it a little bit over 3 years ago, knowing that it was coming and, seeing the stories about how small towns in the Northeast were covered up with traffic. Carbondale, Illinois was one of the towns that we had talked to.
I guess.
2017, right. So a lot of congestion, a lot of people pulling RVs camped out on the roadway in people's yards. There was a lot of activity. So being a small community with limited resources, we knew that we had to all come together to manage this event.
Sure.
So we started doing that way back 3 years ago. And I will tell you that we have consistently met and talked about this. We've had a monthly meeting over the past year leading up to the event. And those meetings have involved a lot of different entities, not only the city and the county and TxDOT, but also the school district and HEB and the hospital and the Forest Service and, just anyone that might have a facility or be able to have some kind of expertise in managing crowds or something like that. We got them involved. So I was joking, been joking this week about, how that was the longest EMS exercise that we've ever been, and most thorough EMS exercise we've ever been through. Yeah. They typically last 3 days, not 1,000 days.
Right.
In this case, so we didn't know what to expect. And I will tell you that we had been visiting with all of the cities that were in the path across the state of Texas. Everyone was very well prepared. Everyone had a very similar plan, didn't know exactly what to expect. We heard projections of 150,000 people in Gillespie County, 400,000 in Curve County, and we really didn't see those numbers in the end. I was just reading an article a couple of days ago. I think it was published out of San Antonio, where the statistic that was being shared early on was that the state of Texas would see about 1.7 million people coming in. And in the end, the estimate is about 400,000. Yeah. We expected quite a few in town. I expected it to be a lot like a special event weekend, Oktoberfest weekend, which, we're very well equipped to handle crowds like that. It ended up being smaller than that, actually. In terms of some other statistics out here at the park, we did have space available for so many people.
And you're speaking about Lady Bird Park.
Lady Bird Johnson Municipal Park. And we were packed out there, and just learned the other day, and it was published in the newspaper today, I guess in the update, that we had visitors from 46 different states and 23 different countries. So unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Really good representation. And I will tell you that going through the park about an hour after everyone left, I saw only one piece of trash laying on the ground.
That's great.
Same at market plots. These visitors showed up and they respected the town. Yeah. The town is very clean to begin with.
Yes.
When a place is clean, people typically take care of it better, but the town is very clean. And they honored that and cleaned up after themselves. So a different type of visitor.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit older, not as much of a, just pure tourist, maybe. Mm-hmm. I also heard an interesting story about a couple that drove down from South Dakota, saw what the weather was going to do, packed up the same day and drove to Vermont.
Oh my gosh.
To watch the eclipse. So, when you think about that, you think it's crazy, but once in a lifetime opportunity for an adventure, you know. So we had a lot of those types of people. And again, thank you to everyone that showed up and, was respectful of the city of Fredericksburg and took care of things. But it was an awesome event. What a great experience. Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
I mean, you and I kind of hunkered down on the patio and you had your GoPro recording and we took photos and we had our glasses looking and it was something I'll never forget. And I'm thankful that we were here to be able to see it. I've seen a lot of comments on Facebook or, any social media where a lot of people are really thankful for the hospitality here in Fredericksburg. And I think it's good to be prepared. That way there's not chaos. And when you overlook even just the smallest detail, people don't feel good about it. So I think being prepared really gave our visitor a unique experience.
So the plan really on the PD side, it divided town up into 5 different quadrants. And we had basically a lead officer in each one of those quadrants. If there was an issue there, that issue would be resolved by that person with whatever resources they needed. Out in the county, we did something very similar. We had fire EMS spread out. All of our volunteer fire departments were involved. Everybody that was a volunteer, everybody that was full-time was available and working that day. Again, spread out across the county so that we didn't have to drive to get there. We would be closer to anything that might be happening. So it was a really good plan. That's just a little bitty piece of it, probably 2% of the overall plan. But everybody played a big part. Marilyn McNabb at HEB kudos to her for keeping the shelves stocked.
Yeah.
I walked in there, I guess it was Sunday morning, and there were more HEB workers stocking shelves than there were people shopping. So I sent her a quick text, and then when I was walking out, I ran into her and I just told her it was, remarkable. And again, that's a big part of the community, and it's just an unbelievable amount of work that went into planning and executing, this event. So
yeah,
I
imagine
would
what
say
we'd be like without our little HEB.
Yeah.
Maryland and company are so great. I know they donated a lot of food and water to those that were working, and
that's right.
They run a tight ship and great people over there.
Very good job. The hospital was very well prepared. They were a big part of the equation. They had not scheduled any kind of inpatient operations or anything like that, procedures.
Oh, sure.
Just in case anything major happened, they'd have plenty of room to accommodate people.
Sure.
So, thanks to everybody involved. It was, truly a team effort.
Yeah. So what do you anticipate this next year is going to look like for you and for our city? I mean, we've seen some changes this year and that I would not have expected.
Yeah. I think that, I agree with you. I think development is slowing down just a little bit. Again, we may be a little bit overbuilt on the multifamily residential side. Mm-hmm. We'll see who's renting these apartments. In terms of single family residential construction, we're seeing construction on Friendship Lane, Friendship Oaks. In fact, there have been COs issued for a couple of those houses. There are people moving in there. I really don't see as intense development moving forward. Again, just the the saturation I think that we've reached on the multifamily interest rates, which you're very well aware of. Construction cost, although those are starting to come down. I'm starting to hear more and more leading up to the presidential election about inflation and how it is beginning to rise just a little bit more. So, I think the election will have a lot to do with it. The presidential election. People are a little bit concerned, and maybe hanging on to their money a little bit right now. So we'll see what development does. In terms of the city council, we have 2 council members who are up for election, unopposed. So we also have the mayor's seat that is up. I'm not going to speculate there. Anything's possible, but I'm hoping that we keep the same council. We'll at least have those same 2 council members coming back. So that consistency year to year.
I was going to say that's nice to not have to start over, and
is really good. But I want to get out of the drought. I want to make sure that we're very secure with our water distribution system and our water supply here, taking all the development into account. We actually have a number of things that the council has been talking about and considering that within a month I can tell you a little bit more about. But I will say I'm really excited about the chamber potentially taking over our Food and Wine Fest. And by the way, we're going to have the 2024 event in October. So that is happening. It's going to be more of a locals event. And they also have planned a big kids portion of that.
Great.
So again, more community minded. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to the chamber transitioning into that role. We've also been talking to the Texas Historical Commission about taking over ownership and operation of Fort Martin Scott. I think that would be tremendous for the city.
Sure.
We would still have a cost obligation for maintenance, but they would provide all the staff, operation of that whole facility, and really turn that into something more than we could ever envision. A few other things coming up that I'm really excited for the community to learn about, and hopefully we'll be able to tell you a little bit more about that next time.
Yeah. What I see from this last year is you are doing a great job of partnering with others that might be doing a better job or could manage something better than the city, or is,
Right.
It fits. It's a better fit for them. So I like that you guys are looking out there and
Mm-hmm.
seeing what's fitting and not taking all of it on at the city.
Right.
So.
And what really got that started is the golf course.
Oh yeah.
The city rebuilt the golf course back in 2012, and it was a build it and they'll come mentality, and they didn't come. So we operated it for 5 years at a deficit. The last year we operated it, the city operated it in 2017. We operated at a $700,000 deficit. So your tax dollars are going to support a failing golf course.
Right.
So we hired Touchstone Golf. In 3 years, they're in the black making money. So they overcame that deficit. They have reinvested $750,000 back into the golf course, and they have $1 million in the bank.
Yeah, looks better than ever.
So cities have no business running golf courses. We need to manage a police force and keep the lights and the water on, maybe, but not golf.
That.
Maybe not a historic site.
Sure.
So we're looking for.
But you recognize the value in having them here, so that's important.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
you bet.
we don't want to do it without them.
We were real close to closing the golf course.
Yeah.
And what an asset it has been for so long, and certainly is now.
Yeah. The beauty of recording this at the airport is we get to hear a lot of airplanes coming and going.
That's right.
But I like it. It's great.
This one's about to start up.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Are you ready to go fly?
We're ready to go. Yeah.
Well, it can't all be about business. You and I talk business way too often. Tell me something fun, something that you enjoyed this year personally, or that we did together. I think we just worked all year. I know on the way out here we were talking. We missed the spring spawn. We like to go fishing, but that's okay because we enjoy working for the community and doing our stuff. But just looking back, what's something just that family wise that we did that we hadn't done before? Well, besides the eclipse.
Yeah, Bill Gates' guilty pleasure, and he could afford anything, is a good cheeseburger. So I would have to say, as simple as that day a couple of weeks ago, that Saturday a couple of weeks ago, that we didn't work or do anything all day Saturday, but just lay around and veg on the couch and just kind of chill out at the house. Yeah. Order Chinese or something.
We don't do that very often. Don't tell people.
We've never done that before.
No, we haven't. But we did eat. Everything was to go. We ordered everything. We didn't even cook.
That's right. Like breakfast to dinner and, things
nice.
Like that. Just looking for opportunities to relax and, going to Lake LBJ. There are no lakes around that have any water in them. So, getting the boat out or the kayaks out, it's pretty difficult. But
the weather's been amazing lately. We've enjoyed being outside on our patio and working on the garden.
Building a garden, rebuilding the garden. Flying airplanes, spending time at the ranch in West Texas, and you spending time with your family. That's all been really good stuff. So just keeping it simple, I would say.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go fly.
Let's go.
Hey, thanks for being on my podcast. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to Everything Real in Fredericksburg. Get more information about the Fredericksburg area and contact Leanne at leannebailey.legacybrokergroup.com.